Let's talk some Bill Belichick.
I'd rather not.
Last night,
I'd rather not.
By the way, when
It's
that
already
game
been addressed.
when that game was 7-0, there was a party that's like, look at Belichick bringing the magic
Wasn't
to
just
Chapel
me.
Hill.
Even Michael Jordan. Stars were out. People were like, there
I know.
it is.
Okay.
That's why he's here.
Yeah, after the first drive, and there's a ton of people tweeting about it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game unfolded, and it was pew.
Seriously, 40 unanswered points or whatever it was, just downhill from there.
Their first defensive series was good as well.
Dude, they're
Chapel downhill,
the
bro.
differential in score at one point was almost the difference between him and Jordan's age.
Well, that's just one of the jokes, so ding yourself because
Boing.
what stood out the most, 877-99 on Fox, was it all the clowning going on? Because at first you're watching for greatness, right?
Yeah.
You never go to a theater or sit down and grab the popcorn in hopes to see a bunch of crap, right? You're hoping to enjoy it. So I don't think people were there to watch Bill Belichick fail. I don't think he's that type of guy. I thought I was tuning in to see some greatness unfold and to see what he does at the college level. And it's like, yo, dude, this is bad. This is a straight up nightmare. Like he was living a nightmare right before our very eyes. And it turned out to be the greatest loss in his coaching career. So what stood out to you? Was it all the clowning? Was it all the jokes? Was it all the punchlines that people leaned into? Or was it just the overall feeling of surprise, like that gut punch, that sucker punch to the face that he was dealt last night? Because I was surprised by it. I think we all had a feeling of he's Bill Belichick. He's an NFL GOAT. He's going to come out and teach these young boys a lesson. But it looked like the game passed him by, or he's not adjusting to college football. It was the exact opposite of what I expected.
I mean, you bring up a good point. I think it's a game I at least wasn't watching for, man, I really hope they stink. You were sort of hoping, wow, if Bill Belichick could bring some magic to UNC, who for the most part has been irrelevant with their football program, if Bill Belichick could do to their program what primetime Dion did for Colorado, and you're like, wow, just another team in the mix, that was the wish. And then when it was 7-0, you're like, oh my God, Bill Belichick's bringing it. And then from that point, I think there was more social media clowning than anything. And Bill Belichick has become more of a punchline.
Yeah,
now.
people had jokes in their back pocket. The memes came out like this. The internet always wins. I wish we could give credit to the people that created these memes and jokes because I don't know how they come up with them so fast. But again, TCU wins 48-14. Bella, check yourself before you wreck yourself. He has to go back to the drawing board and figure things out. Obviously, they have some moves to make, things to learn from, but they better move fast because if he doesn't adjust and if the team doesn't adjust, it's going to be the storyline for the rest of the year, and it's going to come back to his off-the-field antics with Jordan. That will come back to bother him. I'm sure it will and bite him.
It doesn't help because here's the deal.
It doesn't help the optics where
if,
his family's involved, his girlfriend's there. Like that doesn't help the storyline. Even though that might not be the reason at all, it's not going to help the storyline if this continues to snowball.
Cove, they were only 3.5-point underdogs, so it wasn't like they were these big favorites. They were actually dogs in the game, but it was expected to be a close game, and many were betting money line on North Carolina because, hey, Belichick magic, maybe it happens in game one. But much like anything, if there is a layer of your personal life involved, when things go bad, everyone will look and point to the personal life. So if they win, Jordan gives them some life and youth, and man, Belichick's back. They lose, now it just looks like an ultimate distraction, and he's not who he was, and now he's, again, more of a social media punchline than the GOAT, best coach in the NFL history.
Our very own Colin Cowherd called him the chef that's unwilling to change the menu. As Colin says, you need to change the menu.
You quote Colin. I'm going to quote another great here at Fox Sports Radio, Dan Byer. See that guy sitting over there?
Rich, I think he, based on last night, 48-14 in a laugher, almost like you're watching covering your eyes. He has to change the menu. He can't stick to that. That's going to get him nowhere.
Dan Byer said something yesterday that I thought you could argue applies to Bill Belichick. When you talk about Alabama's first game, when you talk about Arch Manning, and everyone's like, oh, they're ass.
Might be ass, bro.
And now Bill Belichick, it might be ass. Do you look at it like an album? Hey, track one might stink, but we still have the rest of the album to listen to. And Dan, I thought that was a great analogy because a lot of times you might not like track 1, but that's not the whole album. That's not the whole season.
Correct. And Monty even said sometimes it's just an intro, right? So the bangers are on track 2, 3, and 4, and the whole album may be great, except maybe it just doesn't get off on the right foot.
Listen, each album might have 12 tracks. The hits might be tracks 4, 6, 9.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I love the analogy, and I love Dan Byer's wisdom and having him here with us on the show.
And I feel like there's a big butt coming.
I think so too. Like I can see it brewing.
I love big butts. I cannot lie. I bought Sir Mix-a-Lot on CD.
What track was that?
But I'll tell you this. As a guy who spent all his hard-earned money, his Bennigan's money on a CD, if that first track didn't hit, I was less likely to enjoy that album. You have to lead with one of your most solid tracks. That's what makes a classic album. You can't have a dud to start the album. Chances are the rest of the album's not that good when the first track. You're not starting off your album with the weakest track.
I get it. You want to start out strong. I always make the
to Dan's analogy though. When you lose a stinker like that, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to change the outcome of the rest of the season.
I know it's a different sport, but I always joke that if you go bowling, even if you're going with your kids or wife or your buds, if in the first frame you bowl a 7 and then miss the spare, and you're like, oh my first frame is a 7 open. Like you're sort of aggravated to the point where you're like,
there's no reset button.
You
for
can't. You
Bill
almost want to reset. Now, if you get a spare or strike in the first frame, you're like, all right, here we go.
And I get it. On a CD, you could do if there was a stinker to start the album, and it does happen. You did a little skipperoo. You skip it.
Yes.
But you can't skip this 48-14 loss. And it's a good one. But I'm telling you, this is straight up from years and years of CD collecting. You expect that first track to hit. Whether it be a hip-hop album, country album, rock album, that first track should be like the second dopest song after your lead single. That's how I always felt about the first track of the song. And to play into the analogy, I think it's a great one. Bill Belichick had to make a statement, and he made the opposite of that yesterday.
It's interesting. How does one recover? Who do they play next? I'm sorry. I apologize not for looking it up.
Charlotte.
So they should win that game, I imagine.
They're not good Charlotte, speaking of music. I think they're bad Charlotte.
The 49ers, Rich.
And then Richmond at home.
So, I mean, they do have a few, though. If they kept it close last night, then you would have said something different, right?
Yeah, and one good thing that may have come from a bad situation with Gio Lopez getting hurt was that we saw Max Johnson come in. He missed, a year because of that gruesome leg injury, almost lost his leg, and then threw the touchdown to his brother.
He said Max Johnson.
But maybe
good one.
Belichick found his quarterback moving forward.
Taking it one day at a time.
Hey, that would be cool. Hey, we love a great story, right? So the great story here would be if they were able to turn it around. You could go on analogies all day long. We've seen it, Rich, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen someone step out and in the first round they get rocked. But then it's a long fight. They come back and win and they battle, and that's just part of the story. In college, however, every game counts that much more.
I think
it was hard to watch. It really was, and it was like a somber feel. Unless you were a TCU fan, it was like a somber vibe watching Belichick.
I felt that way.
So deflated.
I felt that way last year. Anytime.
Maybe it's a little harder to deflate footballs and spy on your opponents in college.
Deflated, pun intended.
Yeah.
I think I felt that way last year when Coach Prime in Colorado would play a bigger opponent. You're like, come on, keep it close. And then when it was sort of a blowout or not a good game, you'd be like, man. I think if it was close last night, you just want Belichick to compete, and you almost want to feel like he's making an impact. Because if the team gets no better, then it's almost like, then what is he even doing there?
And you know what?
Sold out crowds, people hyped.
They look to him for answers. Like, the players can only do so much. You expect them to be able to perform, but they're playing under Bill Belichick. So they're just looking to him to be like, can you do something?
What do we do?
Yeah, what do we do? It's different, right? Like, yeah, I get it. If you're playing for another coach, you're still under their tutelage and under their play calling and everything else. But there's a sense of, we got this one on the field. I think when you're playing under him, you're looking to him for all the answers, and the camera's on him, the attention's on him, and it's just an awkward situation. And again, back to Colin Cowherd, he was saying the biggest problem is Bill not putting enough emphasis on offense. and that's the game he has to play in college. So again, he needs to change the menu. He's the old chef. He's the grumpy chef that gets mad when you ask him to switch it up a little bit.
Now, I do think
What joke stood out the most to you, though, as he got clowned?
Ooh, that's a good one. I do think, though, that all these kids love playing for him. Maybe not, like, even if they don't love him personally, if you're playing for North Carolina.
Yeah, the guy's got rings. He coached Tom Brady, but that's why you expect him to have some sort of crystal ball, some sort of magic trick to fix this. But that's not how it's going to work.
I think, though, that if you're a young kid, you almost feel that if you play for Belichick, more eyes will be on you because there's people that'll be watching UNC games that previously didn't. So you're thinking that just your overall potential stock could rise.
There's no question.
Playing for UNC now, where let's say you're a middle lineman or someone that maybe someone becomes a late round draft pick that previously didn't get enough eyes because no one cared about North Carolina. So playing for Belichick still, especially with his recommendation, maybe in the combine or something, people, he's a good kid. He's a good, disappointer. Belichick has pull.
Oh, I like him.
So I think that playing for him still has a big lore and buzz in college, but yesterday certainly wasn't the start. Fans wanted, he wanted, anyone really wanted, unless, of course, you were a fan of TCU. And you
honestly, I don't know. It was a bigger nightmare watching poor Bill Belichick look old and outdated and seem to have overstayed his welcome as a coach. That's how it felt. Could he turn it around? Of course. That's how it felt. What was a bigger nightmare, that or, again, the Netflix documentary Unknown Number with that woman's face?
This is my nightmare.
I don't know if you guys saw it yet.
I'm going to watch
It's a
tonight.
nightmare.
I hear everyone buzzing about
Nightmare. The catfish story.
I thought you were going to say,
Nightmare.
put these in order of, got to turn it around. Belichick, Arch Manning, Alabama.
Belichick.
No. My thought is Alabama, the
That dude's
expectation.
getting paid,
Yeah,
bro.
Alabama.
Really?
That was concerning. Seeing
Yeah, but
them.
look what they're paying Belichick.
I said 8-4 last week, and I thought now that might be a little bit too of an optimistic.
But there's
look.
an expectation for
Maybe 4-8
for DeBoer and Alabama. Like Alabama went in thinking
He's-
like this should be a playoff team.
The
This should-
honeymoon is over.
Yeah,
for
so
DeBoer.
I think there's a real big expectation on Alabama to turn around. I think an individual player like Arch Manning, he's gonna. What are they playing, like Coastal someone next week, some trash team? So he'll put up 400 yards.
Bill Belichick
look
signed
amazing.
a 5-year deal with North Carolina, $50 million over 5 years, so $10 million a year for the first 3 years guaranteed, plus all the bonuses. Plus he has this resume of being a Super Bowl champion, always with the Brady thing on his back too. Can he do it without Brady? And people were buzzing about that last night.
Yeah, Rich, they play San Jose State.
Oh, I was going to say, I always start a Coastal if I can't remember because that's usually a bad team, right? Like there's usually something
the
Coastal.
Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina.
There's always
They've been bowling recently.
There's always a bad Coastal team.
And by the way, just when I thought I saw every meme possible clowning Belichick, there was another one, and another one, and another one. What stood out the most to you? And do you feel bad? Because I do, but that's what happens when you stick around too long, man.
I mean, we talked about it with David Letterman, who knew perfectly when to get out.
Or we're all prisoners of the moment, and Arch Manning
Yeah.
and
We gotta give 'em time.
Belichick,
We gotta give 'em all time.
They turn it all around. It doesn't really mean all that much, and they prove us all wrong. And that would be great. No one's rooting against that. I would love that to happen. I think those are great stories. But
It's sort of like a
rocky start,
it's
to say the least.
It's sort of a sad thing, and you could say, sad, who gives a shiitake mushrooms? You could say, who cares? Because they've all made millions and millions and billions and billions and millions.
Paid.
But when you look at guys that stick around a little too long, I mean, some could argue at our other stomping ground, SiriusXM, there's controversies like Howard staying or going. Do you think he loves that all these podcasters are way popular now?
No.
Do you think Bill Belichick knows that in the NFL,
Speaking of, he was supposed to announce today the future of his broadcasting career, and
he
he
pushed
pushed
it
that
back.
again. Radio silence until September 8th now, he's saying he's going to announce what's next. But
So when you
the
see-
world changed around him,
when you
much
see
like the game of football.
when you see legends like late night talk show host Howard Stern, Bill Belichick, and the talk of the town becomes younger coaches, younger podcasters, all that, can't feel good for them, even though they've made hundreds of millions of dollars and they're legends. it can't feel good when you're watching things change around you. And I'm sure Bill Belichick had those thoughts on his mind when he was laying in bed with his hot young girlfriend last night. Probably made him feel better, but still, he had to be thinking like, I'm a damn 7-time, 6-time Super Bowl champion. Oh, more. He won with the Giants too.
He won 8 rings, I believe.
8 rings
2
total.
as defensive coordinator.
2 and then 6, 8 total.
She's the same age as his backup quarterback, by the way.
Same age as his backup QB. He's got to be thinking like, oh man, did I make a mistake? It has to cross his mind because we all make those. You get a new job, you buy a house, you get a new car. Everyone goes through those moments where you're like,
I don't think he was going to think he made a mistake. Remember, we talked about this last year, was that he's pretty much setting his son up.
Nah, that is true. So you can say for that reason alone.
Yeah, doing it for the family.
But
you get a new car, you get a new condo, new house, new anything. There is a part of you that's like, did I make the right choice? We all do it.
Yes,
it's human nature.
Because he's human, and he can't avoid those thoughts. It's as simple as that. I believe that. I don't think he's doubting his abilities.
His skill set, yeah.
But I'm sure there is some self-doubt of, did I stick around too long maybe? Is it worth it? That sort of thing. It's just, he's human. At the beginning, middle, and end of the day when he's sitting there in his bed. He's a human, and it has to bother him.
Only human.
And we'll give him time.
Of
Like we
flesh
can't,
and blood.
It's the first game.
Yeah,
It's
of
the
course.
first game.
I mean,
It's the first game.
but we live in a world of overreaction, Sam. So we're just feeding into the eye-rolling
No,
overreaction.
I don't know. As we said, we were here on Labor Day. Actually, we were in for Dan Patrick. If you missed it, catch the podcast. We were here yesterday, early in the morning. We were saying that it's all we have now. So, of course, we're going to speculate. It's all we got.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're rooting for it.
I mean,
I want to make that clear.
To bring it back to my dude Juan Soto, he started out like ass. He's been the best player in baseball the last month or so. So it depends. Like, do you look at the total package, or do you say, well, he stunk, now he's good? So it's game one, again, for everyone, for Alabama, Arch Manning, Bill Belichick, all the hot stories. It's
You know what
week
stood
one.
out to me, Rich, and we'll set this up for some phone calls. What stood out to you? 877-99 on Fox, that no one is safe when it comes to getting clowned online.
Yeah.
And it's all meant in fun. It's sports. It's entertainment. It's got to sting a little bit, but no one's immune to just being harassed online and bullied online and being made the joke. And I think that all came clear when Jordan became the cry face. When we saw the GOAT, Michael Jordan, being clowned with the cry face online, that was it. Nobody's safe. And Bill Belichick was that guy last night.